It's always hard to come by good news these days. It's just bad news abounds literally everywhere. So whenever there's any sort of small piece of good news or something to celebrate, we have to seize it. And in Latin America, they're always the ones who are producing all of the good news. And obviously today, if people have been paying attention to news reports, we're getting the latest from Peru, which is that in the presidential runoff between Pedro Castillo, who is this very kind of ordinary looking high school teacher that is running for president. He's got very socialist beliefs. He wants to transform Peru's economy, which has been governed by an elite, which has implemented neoliberal austerity like they have in other parts of the world, is running against this woman, Keiko Fujimori, who is the daughter of Alberto Fujimori, who was literally a fascist authoritarian for 10 years and is now in prison for a whole bunch of charges, including corruption and war crimes. She's also had a number of stints in jail for corruption. So Peruvians were making a choice between this man who's promising change, who's sort of framed the polarity in Peruvian society as being between the rich and the poor and the master and the slave, to use his own words, and running against this woman who's, quite literally, a fascist. And at this stage, it's looking like he might win. Of course, one cannot rule out the possibility that if he does win, then Keiko Fujimori and her crew are going to try and do something like stage a coup. A lot of the Peruvian elite is very worried about a possible Castillo victory. There were reports last week that a lot of business people and the extremely wealthy are redirecting a lot of their capital offshore. So there's been massive capital flight at the prospects of his victory. But I think if he does win, it'll be another country in Latin America that is showing how the possibility of a transformative politics is still possible in the world today. And, not so far away in Chile, just as a quick mention, we've mentioned how Chile's been undergoing this process to try and rewrite their constitution. After the brutal dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet, Chile kept the same constitution that Pinochet put into place. So after massive protests in September 2019, the Piñera government conceded a plebiscite to vote on whether or not the constitution should be changed. A majority of Chileans, over 90%, voted in favor. And in May, elections for the Constituent Assembly, the actual group that's going to rewrite the constitution, took place. And it was a big showing for the left. The center-right and center-left candidates performed really poorly. And the people that have done the best have been the social movements, the grassroots organizations, the communists. So it's looking like whatever constitution is produced from this process is going to be a very thoroughgoing rewriting of Chilean society. So we look forward to that. And, the rest of us need to figure out what we're doing wrong and try and get our act together. And of course, as we talk about these movements for democratization, whether it's electing these candidates that want to unseat the power of the ruling class, and these movements for democratization in Chile, it's as best a context or thing to discuss just before we talk about Senegal and how Senegalese people are trying to democratize their country, which has been facing similar problems